The voicemail came at 4:15 on a Thursday afternoon. I still have it saved on my phone. I play it sometimes, late at night, when I need to remember why I did what I did. Walter, it's Megan. I'm cleaning out the garage this weekend. All of Ryan's things, his tools, his fishing gear, everything. If you want any of it, come Monday morning, 9 o'clock sharp. If you're not here by 9, it goes to the curb. I'm done storing a dead man's junk. A dead man's junk. That's what she called my son's life. His tools, the ones I taught him to use when he was 12 years old. His fishing rods, the ones we carried together to Lake Chickamauga every summer since he was old enough to hold a reel. My boy had been gone 2 years and 3 months, killed when a delivery truck ran a red light on Highway 58 and T-boned his pickup on his way home from work. He was 34 years old. Left behind 2 children, Nathan, who was 9 at the time, and Lily, who had just turned 5. Left them with their mother, my daughter-in-law Megan, the woman I had once welcomed into my family with open arms and a whole heart. The woman who was now erasing every trace of my son from the world, one garbage bag at a time. She said Monday. I went Sunday evening. Not because I was trying to cause trouble. Not because I wanted a confrontation with the woman who had been shutting me out of my grandchildren's lives for over a year. I went Sunday because something had been eating at me for months. Something in Nathan's voice during our last phone call, 3 weeks earlier, the only call Megan had allowed in 2 months. He sounded hollow, not sad, not angry. Hollow, like somebody had reached inside that boy and scooped out everything that made him Nathan and Lily. I hadn't heard Lily's voice in 4 months. Every time I asked to speak with her, Megan had an excuse. She's at a friend's house. She's asleep. She's in the bath. She doesn't want to talk right now, Walter. Stop pushing. I should have pushed harder. Should have driven down there months ago, knocked on the door, demanded to see my grandchildren. But Megan had filed a harassment complaint against me the previous spring after I showed up unannounced twice in 1 week. My lawyer told me to keep my distance, give her space, work through the courts. The courts moved like cold honey, and meanwhile my grandchildren were disappearing. So when that voicemail came, I didn't wait for Monday. I loaded up my truck and drove the 40 minutes from my house in Dayton to the split-level ranch in Beaver Creek, where my son had lived, where my grandchildren still lived, where everything I feared was waiting for me behind a locked door. I pulled up at 6:40 p.m. The sun was low, throwing long shadows across the front yard. The lawn hadn't been mowed in weeks. The flower beds my son had planted along the front walk were dead, choked with weeds. A gray Dodge Charger sat in the driveway next to Megan's SUV. I knew that car. It belonged to Troy Briggs, her boyfriend. He'd moved in 8 months after Ryan died. I'd met him once at a birthday party for Nathan that Megan had grudgingly allowed me to attend. Big man, thick neck, loud laugh. The kind of man who shakes your hand too hard to prove something. He'd looked at my grandchildren the way you'd look at someone else's furniture in a house you just moved into, like they were in the way. I parked on the street, 2 houses down. Something told me not to pull into the driveway. Call it instinct. Call it 63 years of reading situations. I walked up the sidewalk, past the dead flower beds, and I was reaching for the doorbell when I heard it. A thump from somewhere inside the house. Then a child screaming. Not playing, not roughhousing. Screaming the way an animal screams in a trap. Then silence. Quick, sudden silence like somebody had clamped a hand over a mouth. I tried the front door. Locked. Went around the side of the house to the back deck. The sliding glass door was open about 3 inches. Music playing inside. Some country station. I could hear Troy's voice, low and irritated. I told you what happens. Didn't I tell you? I slid the door open and stepped into my dead son's kitchen. The house smelled wrong. That's the first thing I noticed. Not dirty, exactly. Chemical. Like too much bleach covering up something underneath. The kitchen was clean but bare. No drawings on the refrigerator, no school papers, no sign that children lived here at all. Troy was standing at the top of the basement stairs, his back to me. He was breathing hard, like he'd just carried something heavy. He turned when the floor creaked under my boot. "The hell are you doing here? Where are my grandchildren?" Megan said Monday. "You're not supposed to be here till Monday. Where are Nathan and Lily?" He moved toward me. 6'2", 240, hands like catcher's mitts. "You need to leave, old man. Right now. Before I help you leave." Behind him, down the basement stairs, I heard a sound that will stay with me until I die. A small voice, so quiet I almost missed it under the music. "Grandpa?" Lily, my granddaughter, calling for me from below the floor. I am 63 years old. I have a bad knee, a worse back, and a heart that has already been broken more times than any man should endure. But when I heard that voice, I moved faster than I have moved in 20 years. I shoved past Troy before he could react, not around him, through him, my shoulder catching him in the chest, and I went down those stairs 3 at a time. The basement was dark, one bare bulb hanging from a pull chain, casting everything in sickly yellow light. Concrete floor, cinder block walls. The furnace I had helped Ryan install 4 years ago humming in the corner. And my grandchildren. Nathan was sitting against the far wall, his left ankle zip-tied to a support beam. 11 years old, skinny, pale, a bruise the color of a rotten plum running from his left eye down to his jaw. He looked up at me with eyes that expected nothing, eyes that had stopped hoping. Lily was in a dog crate. Let me say that again because I need you to understand. My 7-year-old granddaughter was locked inside a wire dog crate, the large kind meant for German shepherds, pushed into the corner beneath the stairs. She was curled on her side on a piece of cardboard. No blanket, no pillow. A plastic bowl with dried mac and cheese crusted to the bottom, sitting outside the crate door, like you'd feed a pet. She looked at me through the wire, with her mother's blue eyes and her father's chin, and she said, "I knew you'd come. I told Nathan. I told him Grandpa would come. I don't remember what I did next in sequence. I know I cut Nathan's zip tie with the utility knife I've carried in my pocket every day for 40 years. I know I broke the padlock on that crate with a chunk of concrete I picked up off the floor. I know I pulled Lily out and held her so tight she squeaked and said, 'Grandpa, you're squishing me.' I know I was crying. 63-year-old men aren't supposed to cry, but I was sobbing like a child, and I didn't care. We have to go, right now. Both of you, stay behind me." I pulled out my phone, took photographs. The zip tie, the crate, the padlock, the bruise on Nathan's face, the marks on Lily's wrists where the crate wire had pressed into her skin. I took 11 photographs in maybe 30 seconds, my hands shaking so badly half of them came out blurred, but enough. Enough for what came later. Troy appeared at the top of the stairs. "You're making a big mistake, Walter. Call the police." "Go ahead. Call them right now." "Megan!" She appeared behind him. 32 years old. My son's widow. The mother of his children. She looked down at me, holding her daughter. Her son pressed against my back, and her face didn't change. Not guilt. Not shame. Not even surprise. Just cold calculation. The face of someone figuring out their next move. "Walter, put her down. You don't understand the situation. Lily has behavioral issues. The crate is a therapeutic tool. Her counselor recommended it. No counselor on earth told you to put a child in a dog kennel. Nathan is violent. The restraint is for his own safety. We're working with professionals. If you take them out of this house, I'll have you arrested for kidnapping. You do that, Megan. You call whoever you want. But I'm walking out of here with these children. And if either of you tries to stop me, you're going to find out what a 63-year-old man with nothing left to lose is capable of." Troy shifted his weight. I looked at him. I meant what I said, and he could see it. He stepped aside. I carried Lily up the stairs. Nathan held my belt loop and walked behind me like a shadow. We went through the kitchen, out the sliding door, across the backyard, around the side of the house, and down the street to my truck. I buckled Lily into the back seat. Nathan climbed in beside her and immediately took her hand. Then I called 911. The police arrived at the house on Ridgewater Court at 7:18 p.m. I was in my truck 3 blocks away, both grandchildren in the back seat, when I saw the lights. Detective Sharon Kowalski from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office found me 40 minutes later. 47 years old, short hair, firm handshake. She crouched down and looked at Lily through the open truck door, then at Nathan, then at me. "Mr. Brennan?" "That's me. I need to hear what happened. But first, are these children injured? My grandson has a bruise covering half his face. My granddaughter has marks on her wrists from the crate they kept her in. There may be more. I don't know what's underneath their clothes, and I was afraid to look." She nodded, called for paramedics, turned back to me. "We've entered the house. We found the basement, the crate, the zip ties, everything you described. And Megan? Troy? In custody. Both of them. There's more," Nathan said from the back seat. His voice was quiet but steady, the voice of a boy who had decided to stop being afraid. "Grandpa, you need to tell them about the closet." "What closet?" "Lily's closet. In her bedroom. Behind the hanging clothes. On the back wall." Detective Kowalski looked at me. I looked at Nathan. "What's in the closet, Buddy?" Lily drew pictures. Every time they hurt us, after they put us back in our rooms, Lily would draw what happened and hide the pictures behind her clothes in the closet. She's been doing it for a year. She told me nobody would believe us if we just talked, because Mom always had an answer for everything. But she said pictures don't lie. I looked at Lily. 7 years old. She looked back at me with those steady blue eyes. "Daddy told me," she said, "before he went to heaven. He said if something bad happens, you tell someone. But if they don't listen, you make proof. Daddy said proof is better than words." I don't know if Ryan ever actually said that to her. She was 5 when he died. Maybe she remembered. Maybe she built the memory out of love and need and the desperate wisdom that children develop when they have no one to protect them. It doesn't matter. What matters is that my 7-year-old granddaughter, living in a house of horrors, had the presence of mind to document her abuse in the only way she knew how, with crayons. On the backs of coloring book pages, hidden behind winter coats in a bedroom closet, Detective Kowalski sent officers back to the house. They found the drawings that same night. 41 pages. Crayon on paper, the work of a child, crude and imperfect and absolutely devastating. Stick figures with big hands hitting smaller stick figures. A rectangle that was clearly the dog crate with a small figure curled inside. A figure tied to a vertical tears, represented by blue lines streaming down faces. And in several drawings, a figure lying flat with X's for eyes. Not dead, unconscious. Nathan had told Lily that when you get knocked out, your eyes go like X's, the way they do in cartoons. She drew it exactly. In the margins of every single page, in careful 7-year-old printing, Lily had written the date. She had learned to write the date in 1st grade, and she never forgot. Every drawing was dated. 41 drawings over 14 months. A complete record. The pictures don't lie, Grandpa. That's what Lily said when Detective Kowalski showed me copies of those drawings in her office 2 days later. I had to leave the room 3 times. The detective was patient each time. Nathan filled in the rest over the following weeks, working with a child psychologist named Dr. Vivian Reese, who I owe more than I can ever repay. Troy had moved in 6 months after Ryan's death. At first, he was just impatient, short-tempered. Then the discipline started, a slap here, a shove there. Megan didn't stop it. By the time it escalated, she had joined in. Nathan told Dr. Reese that his mother seemed relieved to have someone else handle the children, and then relieved became participation, and participation became something worse. The basement started last winter. Nathan was restrained first, zip-tied to the beam for talking back. Left there for 4 hours the first time, 6 the next, then overnight. Lily's offense was simpler. She cried too much. She asked for her father. She asked for me. The crate was Troy's idea. He'd bought it at a pet supply store, paid cash. He told Lily that little girls who can't behave like people get treated like animals. She was 7 years old, and she believed him, the way children believe adults because they have no other choice. They kept the children out of school for weeks at a time. Megan called in sick for them, claimed stomach flu, family emergencies, dental procedures. The school sent notices. Megan responded with doctor's notes. Forged, we later learned, but convincing enough that nobody investigated. I had tried to visit multiple times. Megan had denied me entry, claimed I was drunk once, which I wasn't, claimed Nathan didn't want to see me, which was a lie. Filed the harassment complaint that made my lawyer tell me to back off. She built a wall between me and those children, and the system helped her build it. The trial began in June, 2025 inches, Montgomery County. I sat in the courtroom every single day, front row. I wanted Megan to see me, wanted Troy to see me, wanted them to know that the old man they had underestimated, the one they had pushed aside and filed complaints against and dismissed as a nuisance, was the one who had ended them. The prosecution presented the photographs I had taken, presented the drawings. All 41 pages, projected on a screen for the jury to see. A 7-year-old girl's crayon testimony. You could hear people in the gallery crying. One juror covered her mouth with her hand and didn't move it for 10 minutes. Nathan testified by video. Dr. Reese sat beside him. He was calm, precise, devastating. He described the beatings, the basement, the crate, the zip ties. He described how Troy would come downstairs and just stand there, arms crossed, watching them, not even hitting them, just watching and smiling. He described the night Troy broke Lily's arm. She had dropped a glass of milk at dinner. Troy grabbed her, twisted her wrist until it snapped. Megan splinted it herself with popsicle sticks and an ace bandage. Told the school Lily fell off her bike. The school believed it. He described how Megan coached them before my phone calls. Told them exactly what to say. Told them that if they mentioned anything about punishment, she would make it worse. Told Nathan that if he ever said a word to me, Lily would pay for it. So he stayed quiet. An 11-year-old boy carrying a secret that was crushing him, staying quiet to protect his sister. When the video ended, the courtroom was silent. Not whisper quiet, dead silent. The kind of silence that happens when a room full of people simultaneously realizes what humans are capable of doing to children. Megan's attorney tried the same defense they always try. She was under Troy's influence. She was a victim of domestic violence herself. She didn't mean for it to go that far. The jury deliberated for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Guilty. Both of them. Every charge. Megan received life without parole. Troy received life with no possibility of parole for 45 years. He'll be 89 before he's eligible. Functionally, he'll die in prison. It's not enough. It will never be enough. But it's what the system gave us, and I have to accept it. I learned something afterward from a corrections officer I know through my church. A man named Dennis who has worked at the Lebanon Correctional Institution for 16 years. He told me that within a week of Troy's arrival, every inmate on his block knew what he was in for. Child abusers don't get to hide in prison. The information travels fast. Dennis told me that Troy requested protective custody within 9 days. He spends 23 hours a day in a cell by himself. 1 hour in a small yard with other protective custody inmates, most of them there for similar reasons. He has no friends, no allies, no comfort. For the rest of his life. Good. That was a 1.5 years ago. I'm 65 now. Retired from the electrical trade in 2021 after 41 years. I live in the same 3-bedroom ranch in Dayton where I raised my son, but it's not the same house anymore. It's louder now, fuller, better. Nathan is 13, 8th grade. Tall for his age, starting to look like his father in ways that catch me off guard sometimes. I'll see him at the kitchen table doing homework, and for half a second I'm looking at Ryan, 14 years old, pencil in his teeth, frowning at a math problem. Nathan plays trumpet in the school band. Not great at it yet, but he practices every night, and the sound of a badly played trumpet echoing through my house is the sweetest music I've ever heard. He sees Dr. Reese every week. The nightmares are less frequent now. He sleeps through the night most nights. He still checks the locks before bed. Every door, every window. But Dr. Reese says that's normal. Says it might always be part of who he is, and that's okay. Lily is 9, 3rd grade. She is, and I say this without exaggeration, the bravest person I have ever known. She draws constantly. Not the dark drawings from the closet. Bright ones. Flowers. Horses. Our house with the 3 of us standing in front of it, stick figures with big smiles. She started taking art classes at the YMCA last fall, and her teacher says she has real talent. I believe it. I put every single drawing she gives me on the refrigerator, and when the refrigerator is full, I tape them to the kitchen walls. And when the walls are full, I'll tape them to the ceiling if I have to. That child will never run out of places to put her pictures. Not in my house. She asked me once, about 6 months ago, why I came that Sunday. We were on the porch. She was drawing. I was pretending to read the newspaper, but mostly just watching her. The way she sticks her tongue out a little when she's concentrating. The way she holds the crayon with her whole fist like it might escape. Grandpa, how come you came on Sunday when Mom said Monday? Because I missed you and Nathan. Couldn't wait another day. She thought about that. Was it because of the feeling? What feeling? The feeling in your tummy that tells you something's wrong. Daddy told me about it once. He said you always know when something's wrong because your tummy tells you. Ryan, my son, still teaching his children even after death. Yeah, sweetheart. It was because of the feeling. She nodded, went back to her drawing. Then, without looking up, she said, my tummy told me to draw the pictures. I didn't know why. I just knew I was supposed to. I had to go inside after that. Stood at the kitchen sink for 5 minutes with the water running so she wouldn't hear me. We visit Ryan's grave the first Saturday of every month. He's at Woodland Cemetery under a red maple that turns the color of fire every October. Lily brings a new drawing every time. Tapes it to the headstone with painter's tape so it won't leave marks. Nathan tells his father about school, about band, about the girl in his history class he thinks is pretty but won't talk to yet. I stand a few feet back and listen to my grandchildren talk to my son, and I feel something that I can only describe as broken and whole at the same time. I failed Ryan, I know that. He trusted the world to take care of his children if something happened to him, and the world let him down. I was part of that world. I let a harassment complaint and a cautious lawyer and a slow court system keep me away from 2 children who needed me. I should have kicked down that door months earlier. Should have ignored the legal advice, ignored the threats, ignored everything except the voice in my gut that told me something was wrong. I can't change that. But I can tell you what I've learned. If you have a feeling about a child, any child, not just your own, trust that feeling. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. Not a lawyer, not a social worker, not a judge, not the child's own parent. Systems fail. Rules fail. Paperwork fails. The only thing that doesn't fail is a person who decides that no piece of paper is worth more than a child's safety. Lily's drawings are in evidence storage now. All 41 pages. But copies hang in Detective Kowalski's office. She told me she keeps them there so that every officer who walks in sees what a child is capable of when adults fail them. And so they never stop looking. Last Thanksgiving, we had dinner at my kitchen table. Nathan, Lily, me, and my sister June, who drove up from Cincinnati. Nothing fancy. Turkey, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole from a recipe my wife Carol used to make before she passed in 2018. Lily said grace. She does that now. Nobody taught her. She just started one evening, folded her hands and said, "Thank you for this food, and thank you for Grandpa, and thank you for Nathan, and tell Daddy we're okay." Nathan looked at me across the table. He's at the age where boys don't want to show emotion, don't want to seem soft. But his eyes were bright, and his chin was doing the thing Ryan's chin used to do when he was trying not to cry. "We're okay, Grandpa," he said. "We're really okay." He's right. We're not perfect. We're not fixed. Nathan still has days when he won't come out of his room, when the weight of what he carried for over a year presses down on him so hard he can barely breathe. Lily still wakes up sometimes and comes to my room, stands by my bed in the dark, and whispers, "Grandpa, can I check that the doors are locked?" And I get up, every time, and we walk through the house together, checking every door, every window, until she's satisfied. Then I carry her back to bed and sit in the hall until she falls asleep. We are not unbroken, but we are together. And together, we are building something that Megan and Troy tried to destroy. A family. An imperfect, patched together, sometimes struggling, always fighting family held together by the stubbornness of an old man who refused to lose anyone else. Ryan, if you can hear me, your children are safe. Nathan is growing into the kind of young man you would be proud of. Lily has your courage and your mother's eyes and a talent for art that didn't come from anyone in this family, so maybe she's making something brand new. I'm doing my best. It's not always good enough, but I'm doing it, and I won't stop until there's nothing left in me to give. I want to say one more thing before I'm done. I almost didn't go that Sunday. Almost listened to the voicemail, put it off, waited until Monday, the way Megan demanded. I was tired. My knee was hurting. There was a ball game on I wanted to watch. A ball game. I almost chose a ball game over my grandchildren's lives. I think about that every single day. How close it came. How one lazy decision, one I'll deal with it tomorrow, would have meant another night for Nathan tied to that beam, another night for Lily in that crate. How many more nights until something broke that couldn't be fixed? Don't wait for Monday. Whatever it is, whoever it is, whatever you're worried about, don't put it off. Don't assume someone else will handle it. Don't trust the system to move fast enough. Don't let your own comfort matter more than a child's safety. I'm 65 years old. I've buried a wife and a son. I've seen things in a basement that no human being should ever see. And I'm standing here telling you that the only moment that matters is the one where you decide to act. One Sunday evening. One sliding glass door. One old man who couldn't wait one more day. That's all it took. Lily is on the porch right now, drawing. Nathan is inside, practicing his trumpet. The sound carries through the screen door, wobbly and off-key and absolutely beautiful. My house is full again. Not the way it used to be. Never the way it used to be. But full. If you know a child who seems frightened, withdrawn, too quiet, too careful, ask. If asking doesn't work, look. If looking doesn't work, show up. If showing up doesn't work, show up again. Be the person who doesn't give up. Be the person who doesn't wait until Monday. Lily's drawings. 41 pages of crayon on paper. That was a 7-year-old girl's way of screaming when no one could hear her. She drew because she couldn't speak. She documented because no one was watching. She created proof because she had learned, at an age when she should have been learning to ride a bicycle, that the world does not always believe children who tell the truth. But the pictures don't lie. That's what she told me, and she was right. They never do.